What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Off the Top Rope, Off the Mic Sports Network. Not going live tonight because, listen, as much as I love interacting with you guys on, so I just listen. This show is just not worth it. This show is just not worth it anymore. Um, Guys, we are 17 days away. Do you realize that we're 17 days away from All Out in Toronto? And on the same day that AEW announced two things. They announced that, their pay-per-views are going to go to Max, even though they're only going to take off $10 and charge people $39.99 in addition to the subscription service of being a subscriber to HBO Max, which means you get some pretty good stuff, but still, you're paying for a subscription service to then buy a pay-per-view, which is dumb. And then the big news is that they moved up All Out from 8 p.m. Eastern to 3 p.m. Eastern. I have a whole video out on that. AEW got completely and fucking utterly bullied into making that decision. And based off what I watched here on AEW Dynamite for September 3rd, this, honest to God, given everything that went into today, is one of the worst episodes of Dynamite that I've ever seen. Nothing of substance happened. Some people will say the closing angle meant something. How? We still have no idea who Hangman Adam Page is facing at the pay-per-view. We have no idea who Tony Storm is facing at the pay-per-view. Your men's and women's world champions do not have a clear, defined direction going into All Out. That is just baffling to me. Baffling. And so many things that just made no fucking sense on this show. Zero sense. Mercedes Moné wins predictably a match, another one by roll-up. I don't know why she can't win with a finishing move or whatnot, because I guess they're saying she's trying to protect people. And then she's beating up Alex Windsor. And then all of a sudden, Riho, who hasn't been on television in over a year. I like Riho. First women's champion in AEW's history. But she comes back and immediately gets a TBS championship match. Some of you people were trying to tell me in the comments that, hey, one thing that AEW could do to kind of take the headlines away from WWE and WrestlePalooza is book a women's match in the main event. Really? Mercedes is facing Riho, who has not been on television in 15 months. Almost 15 months. Late July 2024. Go look it up. I can't believe that. The Death Riders faced Brodito in a tag match, which they're trying to advance the Darby Allin stuff. Darby Allin drove Gabe Kidd in a body bag against the ground. Cool. Cope and Christian and FTR fought with each other again. Dax got busted open, and then they brought out the Job Squad to face these guys and try to break up the fight. And I guess some guy named Adam Priest, no relation to Damian, is going to have to find another tag team partner to face FTR on Collision. Cool. I'm looking through this. Just bear with me. I'm sorry. Mark Briscoe in an impromptu match against Lance Archer. He's going to face Konosuke Takeshita on Collision. He wants to face Kyle Fletcher for the TNT Championship, even though he's been feuding kind of with MJF. So that doesn't make a lot of sense. The Hurt Syndicate is going to face Ricochet in the Gates of Agony. Cool. Whatever. And then the main event, let me get to this and then I'll get to my overriding points. The main event went 25 minutes because they had nothing else better to do. They throw Hangman, Kenny Omega, Mike Bailey, and Kevin Knight up against Kyle Fletcher, the Young Bucks, and Josh Alexander. The heels win. Nothing in this match really meant anything. I mean, yeah, there was a cool moment late in the match where, you had the original members of the Elite, Kenny, Hanger, and then the Bucks, and everybody was chanting the Elite, the Elite, which was cool. But hey, you're in front of 900 people. These are the guys that started this company, and that's where we are. So, and then, the heels win. Kyle Fletcher then proceeds to sheer drop brainbuster Hangman on a chair, and then sheer drop brainbuster Kenny Omega threw a table on the floor and then bust himself open on his shoulder. So is Kyle Fletcher the number one contender? Like what's the direction here? Like what there were so many questions that I had going into the show about how AEW was going to try and up their game now that they moved up the time slot to basically just say, hey, we're going to move up the time slot and, put ourselves in front of WrestlePalooza. What they told me tonight, they have zero confidence, and Tony Khan basically earlier in the day with, the move of moving it up and moving it away from WrestlePalooza, and then this show that he booked on Wednesday night, September the 3rd, tells me that Tony Khan has waved the white flag. He has thrown in the towel, and he has abandoned ship, and he does not give a flying fuck about this pay-per-view. Unless you are a diehard sicko, I don't know how you spend $39, $49, whatever, how much money you want to pay for this garbage. This was like that closing angle would not stop. It would not end. And I had so many questions of like, what the fuck is going on? And then here's the capper. Here is the capper and the cherry on top of this shit Sunday of a show. The Don Callis family was involved in this beatdown that took forever. The Don Callis family had multiple segments on the show. One with Mark Briscoe, where Lance Archer just gets into a match. By the way, Lance Archer is now just jobbing out to people. This guy was once the Murder Hawk Monster. Give me a break. And then, so you have that with Mark Briscoe, and then you have the main event where Don Callis has two of his guys, Fletcher and Alexander, in the main event. No sign of Wardlow whatsoever. None. This guy made his big return at Forbidden Door, attacking Prince Nana in front of Swerve Strickland. He has fixed his cufflinks. He has not explained why he is in the Don Callis family, why he was put there, and they didn't even bother to put him on screen. He was not even present for any of this beatdown. He was not next to Don Callis. He was not in the building. They didn't even show him backstage. Rocky Romero got on camera. Like, what the fuck is going on in this place? Nothing makes sense. Mercedes is facing Riho, who hasn't been on television a year. Toni Storm, the women's world champion, has nobody to face. Hangman Adam Page, who had one of the great moments in AEW history 2 months ago, has nobody to face going into All Out. There is no other possible explanation to this other than Tony Khan has waved the white flag and has given up and has surrendered and basically said, WWE, take it all you want. We don't really care. And if you're a fan of this company, like, God bless you, because I won't pay $50 for this crap. If you're not going to show investment and try to get people engaged in your product when you just made a couple of big announcements, one of them that was a botch in terms of the whole pay-per-view thing, but you move up your show specifically to get out in front of WrestlePalooza and WWE, when WWE in 2 nights is probably going to bring back AJ Lee. You have a chance to make a big shining statement to your audience. And some people are saying this is the greatest Dynamite ever. What happened on this show that gets you any bit more excited for All Out in Toronto in 17 days? Nothing. Like I said, both world champions don't have a clear picture. The TBS champion is facing another opponent that they just dusted off after over a year. So we know what's happening. Mercedes is winning. She's not losing. You've got the Hurt Syndicate and their, creative control going up against Ricochet and his team, and Ricochet's fucking the worst. Hey, holy shit, man. This is, I swear to God that this is because of how boring and how uneventful this was, given, all of the stuff that's been going on in the media the last few days, and then obviously moving up that pay-per-view to not do anything of note. And your big go-home angle was terrible because it just would not end, and it made no sense because, wait a minute, isn't Kyle Fletcher fighting with Mark Briscoe? Wait, I thought Mark Briscoe was fighting with MJF. Wait, where's Wardlow? Isn't he in the Don Callis family? He's not there. Kenny Omega literally was off television for basically 2 months, comes back for 2 matches, and is written off of television again. And to add insult to injury, Kyle Fletcher in the table bump messed up his shoulder and it was bleeding. What in the world is going on? Like my sister's phone is blaring off because of just how much nonsense is going on in AEW. It's just that's the peanut gallery, and that's the flag for that. We flag bullshit here at the Off the Mic Sports Network, and I can't get over just how abysmal this show was. And if you're an AEW fan and you like it, God bless you. But how in God's name can you justify paying $50 for this crap? They gave up. That's the only rational thought that I can come up with this show literally just over 2 weeks away from being, from being in. It's just, I can't believe this, man. Just 2 weeks before a show that you've had marked off, and you just surrendered the time slot, and then you basically surrendered with this show that you put out there. No world championship directions, nothing. Utterly insulting. Like, I've run out of things to say. So I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.